Yeah, lots going on in the real estate market, and the continual conversations I'm having with clients is their natural go-to is to look at the news and social media, and that just broadcasts usually on the negative side of things. And when there's a lot of negative, if you're not informed, that's when people step back and they don't make decisions, or they make ill-informed decisions. And our whole goal here and our relationships with our clients is to educate you so that you can make great decisions. We want to get to know your desires, your goals as far as real estate, so that we can best guide you on actual market facts versus what's going on in the news, which, kind of keep your blinders on. That's what I do when it comes to the news. So things have definitely slowed down month over month when it comes to sales and listings. But this is what I found, and I'm sure you guys can relate. Like, it's really area dependent, property type dependent, price range dependent, for a lot of different reasons. But generally, overall, sales are down month over month, and we have a little bit more inventory on the market month over month. You can see this reflected in our sales to active listing ratio. Not as much absorption as there was last month. And I think this can be due to a lot of factors. Obviously, the interest rates, summer activities, people are doing summer stuff, affordability, all of that. And like I said, when there's more uncertainty, ill-informed people, they tend to back away and they don't act. And so despite things slowing down, prices month over month are still up. We're still climbing. Ever since January, prices have risen a little bit, a couple percentage every single month. And this is all over Metro Vancouver here. And like James mentioned, we're going to dive into a little bit of short-term rentals. And I just wanted to give you an overview on Vancouver and our Lower Mainland specific here. And I think as investors, the reason why you would potentially look at a short-term rental for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the higher cash flow with our not so landlord-friendly tenant laws here. It's just another way for investors to capitalize on another growing segment of the market. But that being said, there's always things to be aware of when you're looking at short-term rentals. Like any opportunity, there's pros and there's cons. And so we're going to chat a little bit about that. And we want to be your go-to source for all things real estate investing, whatever strategy you want to use. So what does that look like? Vancouver residents are finding loopholes in city's short-term rental rules. So back maybe 10 or so years ago, short-term rentals were pretty lucrative because of that exact cash flow reason. And then as more and more people started to get into Airbnb, VRBO, all of those short-term rental platforms, it became more popular. Condos were not, or stratas were not super happy about it. There were parties. And so like all of these things led to the city of Vancouver increasing the regulations. And now there's quite a few regulations. And so residents are trying to find all of these loopholes around that to be able to still capitalize. So we're not going to talk about loopholes here. We just want to educate you on things to keep in mind to make sure that we help you find a profitable short-term rental and keeping all the factors that Vancouver is heavily regulated in mind here. So what are some of the regulations? I'm not going to go into every single one of these, but the biggest thing is it needs to be your permanent residence. So you can't, as an investor, just stockpile like 2, 3, 4, 5 properties. Technically, you can have one, and it needs to be your permanent residence. You need to live in it half of the year. So having like driver's license bills go there. Lots of them are pretty strict, and they will check that. Other things to keep in mind, like your laneway suites, any legally suited basement or suite on the property technically can't be for various reasons. If you are in a strata, your process here would be to confirm with strata bylaws and then apply for approval with the strata. And then regardless if you're a strata or a single family, you need that business license from the city of Vancouver, which is fairly easy. You go on their website, and that's fairly easy to attain. But just some of the things to keep in mind, some of the buildings, just because a building allows Airbnb or short-term rentals, I'm using the terms interchangeably here, doesn't mean that it's a good buy. It's something to be very aware of, and that's where we come in. And part of your offer process is to do the due diligence of, vetting these actual buildings, because lots of them are maybe older buildings or special assessments, insurance deductibles, and some of them are through the roof just for various reasons. So I want to make sure that you are actually getting into a good building, not one that just allows the short-term rentals there. And then the next thing is just to do your market research. So there's sites out there like this one, AirDNA. This one, I plugged in my own address here, and it'll give you, there's a paid version, obviously, which will allow you more information. And there's a free version that gives you like a vague understanding of, occupancy rates and average nightly rate, average revenue, things like that. And you can pay for, a certain segment of the market there. And we just took a look. So this one, because this is just the free version here, the segmented Vancouver as a whole. So you're looking here, I don't know if you can see that. Oh yeah. So we're comparing, this is all of Metro Vancouver here. So average, benchmark sale price, $856. So this is likely like a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment style condo, which is typically going to be your rental here. And you can see average nightly rate, $176, occupancy rate, 86%, and then your revenue is $28.96 there. So you have your stats there. So we compare that to another city, that was supposed to be a picture of Langley. That should have been Langley. And so the average nightly rate for Langley, ignore the picture on the slide, was $136. So it's a little bit lower, but as you can see at the bottom there, the benchmark sale price for a 1 or 2 bedroom in Langley is going to be about $200,000 less at $635 there. So you can compare based on, take into your financial situation, what are your goals, doing that research, what are the attractions to, say, a city like Langley. You've got the farms, you've got the horse shows, you've got people that are going there that maybe are more attracted to all the equestrian stuff, the farm. You've got super easy access out of Vancouver versus like right in downtown Vancouver. Maybe there's events, and in summer, for obvious reasons, is super huge. So you want to just be very aware when you compare that. So, and then the other big factor to consider when you are looking at short-term rentals is your financing here. And so I just chatted with Keaton, and he gave just a little bit of perspective when you're looking as an investor for a short-term rental, is making sure that you structure your portfolio properly. And he works with a ton of our investors and can really sit down with you and help guide you to that, where maybe a less experienced broker might not have that knowledge of those resources. And then, like with anything, I think this is a life principle, adapting to change. There's continual, if you've been watching the short-term rental market for a while, there's continual regulations and bylaws that are passing. New stratas are allowing or disallowing rentals. So the better you are at adapting to change, the more successful you are going to be in this market. So purchasing a property with maybe a contingency plan. Ideally, this is going to be a short-term rental, but here's my backup plan. Like some of those stratas, they only allow you to rent out your unit maybe like 90 days out of the year or 30 days out of the year. So maybe you take that 30 or 90 days out of the calendar year, you rent that out, you Airbnb it. And then, in those off seasons, you look for a midterm rental, which all stratas allow that minimum 30 days of a rental. So just different strategies there. And then just planning and preparing like anything. And so sitting down with a mortgage broker and going through what this looks like, because there's different rules you could fall under, take advantage of just different opportunities, because as a landlord, you're not going to succumb to some of like the landlord tenancy laws like you would long-term rentals versus short-term rentals there. So I think to summarize, especially when you're looking at any investments, it's a partnership. It's you and your real estate agent working together. It's your goals, you understanding what your situation is, communicating that with whoever you are working with, so that, and then the better that you understand your current situation and where you want to go, the better your agent is going to be able to find you what you are looking for. Because it's our job is to get to know you, figure out what your goals are, and then provide you with a whole bunch of different options of what that could look like. And then the buying process is exactly that. It's kind of narrowing things down. It's taking a look at things. It's going through the numbers and figuring out, okay, what makes sense. So